I'm enhanced. Hey folks, it's Finn. Welcome back, lovely people. Thank you for tuning in to another video and spending time with me on what is, for me at least, this lovely Saturday afternoon. It's rather warm. Pip is slightly woofing behind me because he's developing a bit of an alert bark at the moment. It's a slight little thing and he has a little woof. I'm kind of training him and we're winning a little bit, so it's more of a little woof rather than a big bark. So hopefully, but by now I think you're all used to the fact that he just interrupts a video, but he's cute, so he gets away with it. He's curled up. It's so hot. I think we're both struggling with this heat. Anyway, big welcome to anyone if you're new as well. Thank you also for choosing one of my videos. So I'm going to try my best to make sense today in this heat. You can probably see I'm glowing a bit. It's just so muggy, it really, really is. So today I have some really amazing news for you. So as I shared last week, I was just preparing to go for my personal independence payment tribunal. A bit of a recap. I applied for a change of circumstances. I was receiving personal independence payment at the lower rate, standard rate, for my mental health challenges that I have. I've had standard rate for a number of years, and from my physical problems getting worse, which was then diagnosed as having ME, hay fever nose. My physical health problems were getting much worse. I applied for changes in circumstances because I felt that I'd probably be entitled to more help. I then I filled in all the forms, went to the assessment, and then at assessment, not only did I not get, I'm laughing because it's just ridiculous, not only did I not get awarded extra points, they took points away. They decided I was better somehow, and I ended up losing my entire award. So I had to do a mandatory reconsideration where you ask them to look again at your award. They still said no, you are not entitled. So then I took it to appeal. There are videos you can go and look at that I've done about this. I will link them at the end of the video. So last week was finally the appeal that I've been waiting for after a year. And I think I've shared many times that I've got to the point now where it's so obvious that they were wrong. I mean, this isn't just like a slight bit wrong where it could go either way. It's so glaringly obvious they're wrong. Their arguments are just bordering on the ridiculous, like the fact that I haven't had physiotherapy input in my ME, and you don't need physiotherapy input into ME. You know, it's not a requirement. There's just silly arguments like that, you know, and the fact that for all of my problems with getting my words across at times, I am really good at explaining myself, on paper at least still, you know, and I've sat and I've written in so many different ways, very eloquently, why the assessment was wrong, how much he left out, with so much evidence backing this up. I've written it every different way you can imagine. Anybody looking at that goes, how they can give you less points, I don't know. So even when I got the appeal, you know, just thinking, I've been let down at this point so many times. I really want to believe that an appeal can look at this and go, of course you should get this award, but I dare not even be thinking positive about it. Do you know what I mean? Even though most people said, look, at appeal, most people are successful. So I went to the appeal with managing my expectations is something I've learned to do over the years with a lot of things. You've got to manage your expectations when you're going through transition, and I've learned very well to manage my expectations. So that's what I did. Just manage my expectations as much as I possibly could. And Chris came with me, my partner, for anyone that doesn't follow me. And I was so nervous. I think after having such a bad experience at the first appeal, at the first assessment, I was so very nervous. It was a judge, a doctor, and a disability assessing person. I can't remember what exactly she called herself. I could barely speak really. I had that, when you're that nervous, your jaw shakes. I had that going on. And when we went in the room, they said, look, before we even start, we would just want to say that we want to give you the 2 points back that they took away from you for mixing with people. Do you have a problem with that? Do you want to talk it through? Or are you happy to just be given those 2 points back? And I was like, oh, no, that's fine. Just give those back. So as soon as I walked in the room, I realised I had my award back of standard daily living at least. So that was good. Because they should never have taken that away from me. I mean, I have generalized anxiety disorder. I really, really struggle to mix with people. Really, really struggle. If it's not for somebody prompting me to get out, I wouldn't go out. I would not see people. I don't do people. I find it so very hard. It's absolutely exhausting. Yeah. I mean, this has never changed for me. It really hasn't. I work so hard on my anxiety. I do it, because I have to, because I know that it's good for me to make myself. But my default position is, if I never saw another human being in my entire life, I'd be quite happy. The fact that I work online makes things so much easier. But I know that it's good for me to see real people in the real world. But I often need a little bit of a shove to do that. So they gave me those back. So that was really quite nice. And then the doctor started asking me questions about the way that my ME affects me. And he started by saying, right, if I asked you how many spoons this takes, and as soon as he said that, I breathed a sigh of relief, because I thought, well, he must understand about ME if he's asking in spoons. So he was just firing questions at me. If you made a meal, how many spoons would that take? How many spoons would it take to eat it? If you'd made a meal, then could you do this afterwards? And then if you'd made a meal and it had taken you these 8 spoons, could you, and it was making sense in terms of understanding ME and what the effect would be. If I'd done A, could I then do B afterwards? And all of this, much better than how it had been at the assessment. And then the disability analyst was just wanting to know how I navigated, using my kitchen and using the house and things like that. It was really kind. There wasn't the trick questions. They really just generally wanted to know how I managed my life, how I managed my mobility. It just felt completely different. They could see I was completely exhausted, and they said, do you want to go home? And then we can ring you with the answer, with our decision. We're probably going to take about 15-20 minutes maximum if you do want to wait. But I said, look, I'll just wait, it's fine. So me and Chris went off into another room while they deliberated. They then called us back in. I was on my scooter, by the way. I'm on my scooter all the way through this. They called us back in and they said, as you can probably tell, we don't at all agree with the DWP's decision, and we'd actually say that it doesn't go far enough in how it's assessed you, and we'd like to award you higher rate daily living and higher rate mobility. And I just burst into tears. I'm probably going to again. And so did Chris. And while we were crying, we heard something about they hoped that it would make the DWP think again when they were assessing people badly or something like that. And they also said something about it being awarded till 2026. I was just unbelievable. I I knew I'd got standard rate. I was hoping I felt I was entitled to the enhanced rate, but you just never know. And with the mobility, I thought I was entitled to the enhanced rate, but again, it's just how it ends up being read, isn't it? And how they interpret it. So I was absolutely flabbergasted. I was so exhausted, so in such disbelief that I forgot how to drive my scooter. It was quite a little room, right? So I just literally drove my scooter into this table, and then when it came to leaving the room, I just reversed it out. But after they'd given us this award and we'd said thank you and like composed ourselves, all knowledge of what button did what on my scooter went out of my head. And I just kept pressing this button, which is the forward button. And my brain wasn't computing. I just kept going, what is going on? So I was just going into the table time and time again and turfing into these chairs over and over again. And Chris was going, no, Finn, it's the other button. And I was going, yes, I know. He's like, no, the other button. And the judge had to get up and hold the door open so that then Chris could help me get the right button so I could reverse the chair. And he said to me afterwards, if you'd have done that at any other time, they'd have probably thought you were doing it for effect. But the fact that you did it at the end probably just showed them that you really do need this award. Oh my word. It was so embarrassing. I honestly was just so overwhelmed. My brain just exited stage left. We got into the hallway and we burst into tears again. The clerk said, do you want to go into a private room and have a moment? We're like, no, 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 these are happy tears. It's fine. We need to just go. We got to the car. We burst into tears again. We got home. We burst into tears again. We told my best friend. She burst into tears. There were many tears had. This has been such a tough, tough year. You know, I mean, to get my diagnosis of ME and then think, oh, I can apply to get some extra help so that, you know, I can get some aids in place, get some support in place. And then to have not only an assessment where they took points away, but to have such a poor assessment, the misgendering, I mean, you know, for the benefit of the letters, I've been calling it omissions, but they were downright lies. All of that at a time where I'm supposed to be coming to terms with my diagnosis and then working with my occupational therapist to manage my condition. Instead, all I've been doing this last year is fighting the DWP, writing letter after letter. You know, it's just been awful, really awful. And now it's over. You know, now I can just get on. You know, I've got money in place to get the extra support, get extra aids that I need to make life more comfortable. It's just going to make such a difference to my life. And I'm really glad I started sharing it on here, because it's really awkward sharing about benefits, because you always get people who have got something to say when it comes to benefits, and there's such stigma around benefits, but there's so many people that this has such a huge impact on. I'm lucky that I've got Chris and I've got other people that support me to fight this and win, you know. But there are so many people on their own that can't fight this. Since doing this and sharing about it, I've heard so many stories of people that this happens to, and because they're on their own, they can't fight it, and they don't fight it, and they don't have their benefit. And it just makes me so incredibly, incredibly cross that this happens. You know, to hear stories that these assessors are actually given bonuses to deny people their benefits, that's just absolutely sick. The fact even that you have to go to a tribunal, a court, to say why you're entitled to your benefit, like criminalizing you, you know, it's so awful. It's like you're seen as guilty and working the system when all you're trying to do is get some help, you know. You go to this system with all of these documents of evidence, and you see one person who is supposed to assess you, who's never met you before, often has no um, understanding of your condition, and based mainly on them, that takes precedent over all of your evidence from people that worked with you, and you can lose your reward. That isn't a system that works, is it? At all. It should be about all of your evidence from people that work with you every day. I have a letter from my occupational therapist that clearly says I have moderate to severe ME, that I cannot do things like cooking, washing, dressing, mobilizing, all of the stuff that's in the PIP descriptors. It covers all of it, and yet that was ignored in place of the assessor, who's never met me before in my life, met me for 1 hour, and decided that because I didn't look tired, act tired, because I went camping 3 times a year, I was fine. You know, that is absolutely appalling that that can happen. And then to fight that decision, you have to go to a court to do it. You know, this system is wrong. It should be the case that all of your evidence from people that know you is taken at face value, and only if they need extra clarity or if there's a suspicion should you get an assessment from somebody. And then if you do get an assessment, they shouldn't be given bonuses for denying people benefits, and they should be people that are picked that have knowledge of your condition, because he clearly didn't know about ME/CFS, because if he did, he wouldn't have written things like doesn't want to get tired so sits down to get dressed. You know, oh yeah, I don't want to get tired, so I'm just going to sit down. That's not what ME/CFS is about, you know. So yeah, it's I'm just so relieved. We both are so relieved. So first thing I'm doing is I'm buying myself a new set of wheels, because Molly has done me so incredibly well over this last year, 18 months, but with my arms now as how painful as they are, driving in this position with a scooter with no suspension is hurting. So I'm getting myself a new set of wheels, soon to be revealed, and I'll need a new name for my new set of wheels. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And we can get a lot more relaxed around, you know, money worries, because it's been a real stress to just watch my business income go down, to watch my little buffer of money go down, and to just panic about what I'm going to do because I physically cannot work. You know, and I can't do the things I used to be able to do. So yeah. How long have I waffled for? 18 minutes. So yeah, hopefully, I know I wanted to make this video sooner and let you know the good news, but hopefully you've seen it on social media. I keep looking left because Pip is just completely crashed out, and I really want to be able to show you. I'm going to have to turn this round. Look. That's one happy, comfortable puppy, isn't it? So yes, thank you so much to everybody who has given me words of encouragement to keep going, who shared their stories with me, people who have been really kind and shared information on how to fight this, links, people who've actually shared their documents with me, who have gone through this themselves. Everyone, you've been so incredibly helpful, and I could not have done this without you. So it takes a village. Thank you for being my village. So grateful. Thank God that is over. Anyone else who's doing this, keep going. Do not let them win. Keep going, because you deserve this benefit. You haven't done anything wrong. They have. Keep going. So that's this week's update. Other than that, there's not much else going on. I have been quite quiet this week. Apologies from that. There's obviously been a lot of like sleeping going on to recover from that. But I've also had a talk this week as well, so I've had to be a little bit mindful of my spoon usage around that. It's also been, just as I say, just so hot. And I mean, even the puppy has been quiet. He's been in various sleeping positions, like the one I just showed you. But also, just like I've been finding him in random places throughout the house, just trying to get cool. I keep coming in the lounge and going, "Where is he?" And then he's like under the chair or under the coffee table. It's too hot for him, bless him. So yes, we are going out today. We are actually taking him to his first ever festival. We're going to Woofstock in Powderham Castle in Exeter. we were going to go for the whole weekend, but we don't want to like rush in until we know what he's like with it. It's a dog-friendly festival. It's actually designed for dogs. Got loads of dog activities and music in the evenings. And we're going to go up this afternoon from like about 3 onwards, where it's a bit cooler. And if he gets on with it, then we know we can go to festivals where they allow dogs, and they've got like little areas where we can take a little bit of a step back from the music so that it can protect his ears, because obviously his hearing's a bit more sensitive than ours and we don't want to harm him. So today we get to see how he gets on with it and if he likes it and if he manages, and if so, then we can look at finding places we can go that are small so that he can have a bit of space. And yeah, because it'd be quite nice if we can take him to little outdoor places like that, wouldn't it? A little bit of a treat for him. What else have I got to tell you? I know I've got to tell you. When I was talking about Pride Month last week, I forgot to say that I recently did another podcast with Strong T Chats on transitioning. So I will link you up to that here and also in the description below as well to have a listen to that. So look, I have done some Pride content, just not on my channel, with the lovely people at Strong T Chats. So do go and listen to that. And they've got some amazing Pride content, so have a listen. Right, that's it from me. Have an absolutely fabulous weekend, my lovely peoples, and I will see you next week. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about yet, as per usual, but you have to tune in next week to find out, won't you? Love you all. Take care of yourselves. See you next week.